You know, I think there's a lot of power in being a pamphleteer, just putting stuff out. It seems to really let the public know that there is a spirit of resistance. There is people who represent what they feel deep down inside, because when they watch television and expose themselves to the, you know, the psychological operation, the matrix of control, they feel very hopeless and helpless, and putting pamphlets out and stuff out is I think very powerful thing to do. Also making videos, anything you can do. Here's something I wrote and I put out when I can. I'm going to go ahead and just read it. You are the victim of the biggest robbery of mankind. Where to begin? It is an unbelievable state of mind that this crime against humanity takes me to. When I make the connections to all the pain and suffering that has been inflicted on the people of this world through this diabolical scam, I can understand how it has been successful. It is the absurdness of the scam that makes it work. This is true. You know, most people, if they really understood how the Federal Reserve, that it's not federal, and really understood how it worked, this is a privately owned debt-based product that their life is built on. And these men can produce this product on their own and do whatever they want with it and give it to whoever they want. It's their product. Nobody would go along with it. It's a scam. It's all fraudulent in nature. We don't owe this debt. It's all been engaged through contract fraud. Okay, back to the pamphlet. I don't know what you got, I guess, essay. Most people never believe that someone would do something this evil, much less to their own kind and ultimately themselves. These men were corrupted by the power and by the what's the word, seductive power, and seduced, and they don't realize that ultimately this massive amount of inequity that they're profiting from, that they've created in the world, and they're riding this wave, is eventually going to destroy the very system they built. And they're doing it to themselves, but they themselves are victims of a much higher power. Anyways, however, the proof is undeniable and we must face it. What is it I'm talking about? It is the privately owned debt-based product known as the Federal Reserve note. Many people have no idea that the Federal Reserve is not federal. It is no more federal than FedEx. The Federal Reserve was created in 1913 through the Federal Reserve Act. This act takes the power of Congress, we the people, to create and distribute money, which would be debt-free, by the way, and gives that power to a privately owned bank comprised of a small group of shareholders. The only real oversight we have is that we get to choose from a list not chosen by us who will head the Federal Reserve. Look into it, people. This is all true. Recently, Congress made a lame attempt to audit the Fed, and they were doing okay, but it's not going well. But you know, Ron Paul's out there trying. He's doing what he can, and he's exposing some very powerful things, which has never been done in almost 100 years it has existed. Think about that. Never once. And as soon as we try, they just raised hell. So think about that. However, since Congress does not serve the people, this is true. They don't serve us. If you think you're represented, if you have a representative right now, I challenge you to take 10 issues and write your representative on those issues, and I guarantee you, most likely, I can't guarantee it, but most likely he will write you back, but he will send you, because they've done this to me. They'll say, well, I can't do this, and this is why. Well, right there, that proves they're not representing you. So therefore, you must send them a notice and fire them because they're not representing you. If you allow someone to do that, they're taking your power, your sovereignty, your place, and doing whatever they want with it. And then you claim back your right to represent yourself, and don't give it over to these corrupt men who are ultimately just serving the bankers and doing the will of the bankers, because everything's based on the stupid Federal Reserve note. Where the hell was I? Okay, however, since Congress does not serve the people, this is a truth we must face, but instead the bankers, this attempt to audit the Fed ended with a limited audit and even more power being granted to the Federal Reserve. That's right. You've been forced to build your life around a debt-based product that has no oversight or accountability to you. Try to understand, our currency is our lifeblood. It is our fruits and labor, and it is being put into the form of a privately owned debt-based product that we have no oversight or real control over. Look into this, people. This is all true. This is all real. This is the source, one of the tap roots of this tyranny. Okay, try to imagine for a moment America as a human body. The currency, money, would be the blood. And currently, this blood has a fatal infection. This is not some conspiracy. This is a fact. I dare you to do the research. Please wake up and get involved. You had the God-given right to be free of this debt-based scam. Usury is evil. We used to have usury laws in this country. I believe they got around it by there was a town, and I think it was Utah, or I can't remember the exact state, that the mayor, they legislatively, contractually got around usury laws, and then all of a sudden banks popped up everywhere, and they started sending out credit cards, and we used to have a cap on the level of interest that they could loan money to us at. And then they got rid of the Glass-Steagall, and now we're experiencing all the hell that is being unleashed by this fraud. Okay, you were given the right. Okay. Stop being a wage slave and help take back control of our government and our country. Yes, you are a wage slave. Okay? You are. If you are unaware of this, you are a wage slave. And I'd like to apologize for, I try to make these videos fast because you only have so much time on YouTube. That's why I speak so quickly. Stop being away. Okay. Apathy and complacency will not make these problems go away. Evil actions like these are never stopped by sitting idly and doing nothing. It has always been brave men and women who stand up who stop these evils. Most people who are doing nothing are just using that as an excuse, going along to getting along, claiming the will of God. This, if that's the way it is, we have free will. This world it is us who manifest the inequity, not God. Therefore, we must deal with it. God will help us, but we must meet God halfway. So you have to understand, like Hitler. Hitler wasn't stopped by people sitting around doing nothing. You have to stand up to these people. If you don't, you're gonna just allow their suffering, their inequity to damage more people. Ultimately, all these men are going to achieve is destroying their own souls and creating mass amounts of suffering. That's all they're going to accomplish. It's horrible. If you believe in free humanity and the rights that have been granted to us by our Creator, then you have no choice but to stand up against this evil, or forever take your position as the lukewarm. This is most people. They are neither hot nor cold. And you must take your stance. You must head towards the light or delve into the darkness. Take your choice. Because right now, if you are not aware of these things, if you are not in the light, then you are being manipulated by the dark. I guarantee it. Please research this and get involved. You are more powerful than you realize. You are extremely powerful. They don't want you to realize that. Because once you invoke that power, they lose their control over you people. Thomas Jefferson. Great man. Very smart man. A crazy smart man. A lot smarter than me. Thomas Jefferson predicted our current situation very well in the following quote: "The central bank is an institution of the most deadly hostility existing against the principles and form of our Constitution. I am an enemy to all banks discounting bills or notes for anything but coin. If the American people allow private banks to control the issuance of their currency, first by inflation and then by deflation, the banks and corporations that will grow up around them will deprive the people of all their property until their children will wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered." Thomas Jefferson. Ta-da! 235 years ago, people. Why aren't you aware of this? Because they didn't want you to be, because you were ran through their indoctrination centers and manipulated. I'm sorry, but it's the truth, and you need to wake up to it. You have been deceived and manipulated so that you may be easily profited from. We are a nation of sovereigns, and as a sovereign, you cannot be profited from without your consent. You have become a wage slave through contract fraud. You have been made ignorant of your rights, and through this ignorance, you have become a slave. You must face this. You must look at it. You must admit to it that you live in the dark, and you must seek out the light. And if you do, and you ask God for this, the light will come to you. The world will change. Your eyes will be empowered, and you will see things you've never seen before. And it will resonate with your very soul, because it is who you are. You are meant to be free. You are meant to be sovereign. You are not meant to be a wage slave. It is not the will of God, the God who created you. It is not the characteristics of the animating force of life that animates you, that you ultimately have awareness and control over, that you were meant to be a wage slave. It is all through manipulation that you have become this. Deception, all the tools of evil, they've used them against you. I'm sorry. It is time for you to stand on your God-given rights. It is time for you to withdraw consent and stop supporting your own enslavement. Turn off your television. That's very important. These people are not telling you the truth. They are lying to you. They're manipulating, and not to mention there's the effects it has on your brain and the brain waves and the flicker rates and all this stuff that they can do, and the sound. Just beware of the television and start educating yourself. If you do not do this, then you'll be forfeiting all that God intended for you, and you will truly suffer hell on earth. May God guide you and keep you in this time of great inequity. God bless. There's a lot of people waking up right now, and if you are finding yourself awake, write stuff out. You know, you don't necessarily, if it may be chaotic at first, but it helps to organize your mind, because as those false pillars come crashing down, as the false building blocks of your mind come crashing down, and you start to rebuild yourself in truth, you will find you'll find it easier to just write it out. It may be chaotic, it may not make sense to other people, but it will make sense to you and help you to reorganize and rebuild yourself back up, because you have been lied to, and your entire understanding of the world is based on a manipulation, a limited view of the world. You've been basically born into a very dark room, and in this room you've been given false light, and evil men have defined what's in that room. They've lied to you about the room. The people who are aware of what's going on, who are living in the truth and the light, are knocking on the window, banging, and say, "Hey, open the window, come over here. There's a whole world out here." And when you do this, anyways, all right, get into it.